was great.
Yeah, it kind of same deal.
At the conclusion of this morning's ceremony, you're invited to a reception in the Amar Event Center. This reception is hosted by the Archbishop Mitty High School Parent Association. Seated on the stage behind me are Mr. Marc, President of the Board of Regents, Mrs. Kathy Almazal, Superintendent of Schools for the Diocese of San Jose, Mr. Tim Brosnan, Principal of Archbishop Mitty High School, Mr. Keith Matthews, Associate Principal, and Father James Okafor, Archbishop Mitty Chaplain. Alexis Rombach, a member of the class of 2018 and a member of the Campus Ministry Life Corps, will now lead us in prayer.
George.
In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. Amen. Loving God, we thank you for all of the blessings you have given us these past 4 years. Please let us show our gratitude for the experiences and valued education we've received here at Archbishop Mitty. Let us never forget the loving community of our parents, teachers, coaches, and friends that have guided and supported us with courage, wisdom, and faith that we will use to help us proceed to the next stage of our lives' journey. Help us to recognize that today is a new beginning for each of us, and to help us to continue seeking truth and knowledge as we take our first steps onto college and into the future. May we remember all that you have given to us. Help us to be men and women of compassion, integrity, faith, hope, and love, as we learned at Archbishop Mitty. With great anticipation for a future filled with opportunity, we thank you, Lord. Keep our hearts on fire. Amen.
Good morning. It's my honor to introduce the students selected from among the graduates as the class salutatorian. The salutatorian is an individual who is an outstanding student academically, has maintained an exceptionally high grade point average, has taken the most challenging course load offered at the school, has demonstrated an excellent facility in both written and oral expression, is perceived as a superior scholar from among the graduates by the junior and senior year honors level and advanced placement teachers, and represents well the values of Archbishop Mitty High School. The salutatorian is extended the honor of presenting the speech of welcome this morning. The winner of the Salutatorian Award this year is among the most accomplished of scholars ever to attend Archbishop Mitty. Academically, her record is simply remarkable. She has maintained a 4.67 cumulative grade point average over her 4 years, while taking honors and advanced placement classes in every discipline, never receiving less than an A grade. She is a National Merit Finalist and an AP Scholar with Distinction who has received perfect scores of 5 on 8 different AP exams taken prior to her senior year. She recently undertook 4 more AP tests with scores to be reported in July. Of equal significance, she is the recipient this year of the AMHS General Excellence Award, given to that student who is recognized as one of the top 3 students in at least 3 different departments. The performance of our salutatorian is unprecedented. She was named one of the top 3 students in 7 different areas of study: mathematics, performing arts, science, religious studies, English, newspaper, and social studies. Our salutatorian has had a profound impact on her school. A complete listing of the arenas of her involvement is much too lengthy to review in this setting, but here is a sampling of her achievements. She has participated in the Ethics, Culture, and Justice South Africa immersion trip. She is the editor of the Justice Awareness section of the Monarch campus newspaper, a leading member of the Mitty Advocacy Project, the student editor of Muse, the Archbishop Mitty literary magazine, and her musical skills are extraordinary. As the principal cellist of the AMHS Orchestra and String Quartet, she has performed at countless school events during her time at Mitty. One of the finest musicians the school has produced, she's consistently received unanimous superior rankings by the California Music Educators Association. And in case any of us is now feeling only mildly deficient, our salutatorian has her pilot's license. As for college in the fall, she has chosen to attend the University of Sussex in London.
Good for her.
Please join me. Please join me in congratulating the salutatorian for the class of 2018, Nicole Lim.
It was a bit of a rude awakening finding out I had to speak here today. A few weeks ago, I was fast asleep on my desk in Enviro class when suddenly I was rudely awakened by the sub, who said that Mr. Brosnan wanted to talk to me in the hallway. Talk about Catholic school discipline. As punishment, I was assigned the ultimate written detention, a speech welcoming all of you to our celebration this morning. So, now that I've outed myself, welcome family, friends, faculty, and staff to Archbishop Mitty's 51st commencement ceremony. First, a special thank you to our beloved teachers for getting us here today. Although at times you may have caused our brains to swell to dangerous dimensions, you taught us in the end that failure is never fatal. That even when we were falling on our faces, we were still, technically, moving forward. Really, there is no limit to your awesomeness. Next, a shout out to all the parents out there. I hope none of you lost a bet because we made it to this day. But even if you did, just know that we're still endlessly grateful. Mom and Dad, you've been there for us from the cradle to the rave. You always had our backs, and you never gave up on us, especially when we were at our lowest or most unbearable. Here now, at childhood's end, we owe it all to you that we won't have disturbed and traumatized adulthoods. It goes without saying, but we love you. And to the class of 2018, welcome. After 4 short years, here we are. Another chapter, another bend. It all makes you wonder who put the good in goodbye, but this is not the end. On the contrary, we have our whole lives to look forward to, and there's no doubt that we'll see each other again. With that in mind, I'd just like to share some of the wishes I have for us all. First, may we always be ourselves. Remember what Curious George said. That's right, nothing. The man in the yellow hat said everything. And yet, despite their differences, they're both still better role models than I could ever hope to be. So, will you be Curious George or the man in the yellow hat? Both are excellent choices, and that's exactly the point. So you do you. Be curious, be talkative, be funny, be stupid, if that's who you are. Second, may we find what makes us happy and the courage to pursue it. Bruce Springsteen says, you can't start a fire without a spark. But that's just poor songwriting, because you can start one with a magnifying glass. So, while it's highly unlikely that one day we'll all suddenly be bathed in bright light and our life's purpose will be laid out before us in a divine vision, that's okay, because all we really need is to put ourselves under the magnifying glass, to set our hearts on fire, to see deep within ourselves. And waiting inside, we'll find a child who is stubborn, impractical, and hopelessly vulnerable to joy. So let's not be afraid to take a wild leap into the dark. Rather than sit on the fence, getting splinters in delicate regions, let's hit the ground running. Because the difference between surviving and living is doing what we love. It's loving the world enough to change it with what we have, where we are. That's what keeps our fires burning. And then maybe someday we'll be the spark for someone else. Finally, even as we grow older and go our separate ways, there are some things we must never forget. Where we came from, our old friends, everything that Mitty taught us. But most of all, in the words of our very first and our very best liturgical theme song, may we always remember to be humble, to be kind. Class of 2018, it's been an honor speaking before you today as part of my atonement. As this welcome address comes to an end, my dear friend Amelia said it would only be appropriate for me to now triumphantly swan dive off this stage. But seeing as the medical ramifications of that would far outweigh the potential for dramatic effect, I'll just say this to all of you. I don't believe the meaning of life is a puzzle to be solved. Life is. We are. If we were certain of all things, we spend our lives worrying about losing our way. But if we believe anything is possible, the uncertainty is a blessing in disguise. The miraculous is always nearby, and the wonders will never, ever cease. That is why the best kind of ending is no ending at all. Thank you.
Now please welcome, in his address to the graduates of 2018, the principal of Archbishop Mitty, Mr. Tim Brosnan.
Members of the class of 2018, now forever known also as the Rained Upon class. Each year I get this one last chance to sum up some of this community's hopes and prayers for you, to say something profound, to take a brief walk with you down memory lane and to get even with some of you, all in about 12 minutes. So here goes. In these past few weeks, and certainly today, many sentences have begun with the simple words, remember when? This school year, more than any I can recall, produced a large number of eclectic memories, ranging from impactful to poignant, to tragic, to silly. Remember when, for example, the senior girls powder puff team entered this very stadium and sauntered confidently to the center of the field for the pregame coin toss. As this collection of world-class athletes approached the clearly frightened and undersized underclassmen, a sophomore girl standing next to me simply uttered the words, "Oh my God." It turns out that her fear was warranted. Final score 18-0 and a lot of sophomore bruises. Then after watching the seniors dismantle the juniors 21-7, I remember thinking to myself, how did this senior collection of D1 athletes all get selected in this random drawing of teams? Amazing coincidence. But remember a few months prior to that, when the devastating fires in Santa Rosa were raging out of control. When you heard of the enormous damage to Cardinal Newman High School, you raised funds and bought t-shirts that proclaimed, in solidarity with a sister school, we stand with Cardinal Newman. Speaking of solidarity, remember when Father Greg Boyle spoke to us at your freshman year Thanksgiving prayer service. He shared with us the wisdom gained from his working for many years with LA gang members, and he reminded us that it's impossible to demonize someone you know. His message of solidarity still resonates with our mission and so much of what we try to live by here. Remember the Year 2 version of the One World Cup soccer game right here on this field a few weeks ago. Student athletes from 5 Catholic high schools and refugees from literally all over the world joined together right here to celebrate a common goal of making our world one world, free from all of the division that currently divides us. Well, remember when Kenzie got her finger stuck in one of the new picnic tables? No fewer than 8 firemen and paramedics had to saw off a piece of the table surrounding her finger. Mackenzie, I bet this is not embarrassing at all. But you did get mentioned in the grad talk. Remember the speech and debate team winning their third straight state championship, a remarkable achievement by any measure. And speaking of state championships, remember the volleyball team winning the school's 6th state title in a row and 14th overall. Certainly, it would not have been possible without the support of road warriors and volleyball groupies Ryan, Marc, Ricardo, Jared, and Oliver, who, by the way, paid me to mention them. Remember the anxiety you felt as the big day, that is, Monarch Madness, approached? After all, you were a combined 0-7 in terms of Spirit Week and Monarch Madness competitions. Come on, you gotta live with it. The prospect of going 0 in high school was both real and frightening. The night began with a heartfelt and inspiring prayer proclaimed by Tongan Leis. Made me proud. After the opening dance routines and several events, the scores were tight and the tension was building. But then came a turning point in your favor. The iconic Limbo Contest. Yes, Abigail, now a Limbo legend, withstood the challenge of 3 tiny and limber sophomores, as with her hair dragging on the floor behind her, she somehow managed to clear the lowest rung on the Limbo pole, a mere 16 inches off the ground. And not long after this, and the dominating performance by you in the tug-of-war contest, you joined together with the entire student body to sing Love is the Evidence. That was my favorite moment of the night. And when you were finally rewarded with that elusive Madness trophy, your unbridled joy when you charged the floor is something I hope you will not soon forget. Remember when Nicole gave a beautiful and inspiring talk to the whole student body last month? Her message encouraging us all to count our blessings was made even more poignant since she had just recently torn her ACL while playing for Mitty's national championship women's basketball team. And remember when during that very same assembly, Coach Sue Phillips was honored as the Naismith Award winner as the girls' National Coach of the Year. I will also remember the pride in Coach Phillips' parents' eyes as they held tightly to the beautiful trophy their daughter had just won. Very cool. Yes, no matter what age you are, your parents are always your parents. Clearly, so many of you will remember the part you played in an amazing year of Monarch athletics. As of this moment, the school will be hanging at least another 9 banners in the gym that is quickly running out of space for banners. And fully 44 members of this class will be playing college sports at 4-year universities next year. No wonder there were so many championships. Remember the quirky humor of Bullets Over Broadway, the irreverent comedy of One Man, Two Governors, and the inspiring and challenging message of Jesus Christ Superstar. Actually, a pretty unheard of lineup for high school theater. How fortunate we have been to experience professional level productions right here on the Mitty campus. Remember when I announced Tasia's receiving a very prestigious science award and the entire student body erupted in praise while chanting, Tasia, Tasia, Tasia. Audience participation, I love it. Such student appreciation for remarkable scholarship was also on display when you gave Nicole and Danny standing ovations for their ridiculous academic achievements. I'm still proud to be part of a school community where intellect is so deeply valued. Indeed, intellect and faith are not mutually exclusive at Archbishop Mitty. This is the reason why we celebrate Mass and build robots, why we analyze literature and attend retreats. Speaking of which, remember the first night of your Kairos retreat? Perhaps the most profound evidence of love one can imagine. On that January Kairos that I attended this year, I remember sitting in the back of our meeting room and being amazed by the insights and genuine love that came from you guys when asked to react to a talk on reconciliation. I was so moved, I started to write down some of these powerful reflections that students were sharing openly with 50 of their classmates. One young woman came up to the podium and praised her classmates with the words, "You're strong, you're capable, you're deserving of healing." And then another came up, "Find for yourself a community of friends who truly care about you and in whom you see God." And another, "We need to see ourselves as others see us. I find these people at Mitty care for me and they don't even have to. I've done nothing to earn it." And another, "Why can't we all just be enough?" And finally, "Every day when I come to school, I am shown love." Graduates, as cheesy as it might sound, my most fervent hope for you today as you leave this place is that you feel truly loved. As Father Boyle points out in his newest book, Barking to the Choir, God's love is made manifest in our kinship with others. And God has no time for disapproval or shame or judgment, for God is too busy looking at us in awe. Our God is in awe of the burdens we carry. Our God is in awe of the joys we share, in awe of the tenderness with which we treat one another. Members of the class of 2018, today your parents, your grandparents, your brothers, your sisters, your aunts, your uncles, your friends, and teachers all stand in awe of you. Graduates, because you are so undeniably loved, I hope you will take that love in the form of tenderness and community and advocacy out to those on the margins, to the refugee, the impoverished, the homeless, to all who sadly feel unworthy or forgotten. And there you will realize, according to Father Boyle, that we are sent out not so much as to make a difference, but so that the folks on the margins will make us different. Graduates, my final hope for you is really a heartfelt plea for action. Take on the forces that threaten your very lives and the lives of your generation. I implore you to continue the fight started, ironically enough, on Valentine's Day after the Parkland shooting. As Bishop McGraw so passionately shared with you during the walkout event on March 14th, quote, "Today, your voices are being heard like never before. Your calls for sanity reverberate throughout the halls of power. Today, your outrage is shared by others, and you are our teachers." And he continued, "Prayer, of course, is good. Likewise, education is good. And solidarity, too, is good. But we need to act to demand change, to protect the lives of innocents. Contrary to some," he continued, "the answer is not more guns or arming teachers with Uzis and AK-47s. My generation and your parents' and grandparents' generation has failed. You may be the last chance for real change. You have something to say, and you must." Graduates, since this past January, there have been 22 school shootings, averaging almost one per week. In that same time frame, more students have been killed in school shootings than soldiers have been killed on active duty in the armed forces. As you move on to your various universities, I encourage you to vote, to speak out, to demand changes in our gun laws, to plead for common sense. Your voice matters. Please let it be heard. Now, I know there are those who might be thinking that this is too political a topic to raise at graduation, or too much of a downer for a day reserved for celebration. Well, I think not. Regarding the political nature of this topic, given the statistics I just quoted, we are way beyond worrying about appearing too political. This is the defining issue of your generation. And I, for one, do not care whether the gun violence problem is solved by Democrats or Republicans, liberals or conservatives. Just let our children live in peace. Finally, graduates, as to the question of whether this topic is too depressing for inclusion in a graduation ceremony, never fear. I know you. I have never doubted your proven ability to shift nimbly from serious to silly, to cry and laugh with equal measure. You have earned this joyful and celebratory day, and you shall have it. Remember when the We Ready chair became your staple for spirit and good times? Well, let's see if you can remember how it goes. Blair, would you do the honors? Lastly, graduates, as many of you know from having been at any one of these ceremonies over the past 28 years, my address to the graduates can never be considered complete without a reference to a contemporary movie. This year, there was no doubt which movie that would be. Picture, if you will, the fictional African nation of Wakanda preparing for the coronation of its newest king, T'Challa, also known as the Black Panther. Thank you. T'Challa faces several challengers to his rule, including those who have different ideas for the use of Wakanda's incredible resources, especially its massive supply of vibranium. The proverbial bad guy tries to steal the precious metal for his own evil purposes, and other more textured characters want to use its power to avenge past abuses of oppressed peoples, while still others want to keep Wakanda's incredible wealth to itself so as to protect its culture and its citizens. After lots of listening and careful discernment, T'Challa chooses to abandon Wakanda's decades-long practice of isolationism and share its incredible resources with the world, as T'Challa proclaims in a message to his people, quote, "Wakanda will no longer watch from the shadows. We cannot, we must not. We will work to be an example of how we, as brothers and sisters on this earth, should treat each other now. Now more than ever, the illusions of division threaten our very existence. We all know the truth. More connects us than separates us. But in times of crisis, the wise build bridges while the foolish build barriers. We must find a way to look after one another as if we are one single tribe." Graduates, as Father Boyle, as the Buddha, and the Black Panther would all agree, separateness, indeed, is an illusion, and we are in fact more connected than not with our brothers and sisters throughout the world. Let us go out from this place today with full confidence that we are loved and that there is no force in the world better able to alter anything from its course than love. Know that you are always welcome here. Your first reunion is November 22nd, the night before Thanksgiving. May God bless you all.
Graduating class who has performed academically at a remarkably high level, has maintained an exceptionally high grade point average, has taken the most challenging course load offered at the school, has demonstrated an extraordinary facility in both written and oral expression, is perceived as the top scholar from among the graduates by the junior and senior year honors level and advanced placement teachers, and who represents to a superior degree the values of the school. The graduate chosen as the valedictorian has the honor of delivering the valedictory address this morning. The winner of the Valedictorian Award this year is a young man with a singular intellect, tremendous work ethic, value-centered perspective on life, and an unpretentiousness that reveals an admirable sense of perspective about himself and the world. Here are but a few of his accomplishments. In his 4 years at Mitty, he has achieved a 4.75 cumulative grade point average. He is a national AP scholar, earning prior to this year a perfect score of 5 on 11 different AP tests. He recently completed 4 additional AP exams with scores to be reported in July. Over the past 3 years, our valedictorian has each year received the General Excellence Award, recognized as one of the top 3 students in the following areas: mathematics, robotics, science, social studies, English, newspaper, and world languages. He is a scholar of the first order. This review of his academic accomplishments reveals but a portion of his talents. He has been a leading member of the popular and successful robotics team, this year serving as its co-captain. Embracing a servant leadership style, he's known by his teammates to be responsive to their needs and always happy to help. He's a tutor to many younger students and is the go-to guy when the robot needs fixing. This skill set resulted last summer in a full-time job in which he operated a computer numeric control milling machine, a CNC as it's known in the industry, to make parts for research, medical, and defense industry firms, as well as for companies such as Tesla and Google X. He brought this experience back to Mitty Robotics Lab, which recently acquired a CNC machine of its own. Finally, this young man clearly recognizes that his many talents are gifts to be given to the larger community. While on the ECJ South Africa trip, he helped set up a computer and printer at an orphanage for children with AIDS. and for his recent Eagle Scout project, he built a 3-tier compost bin for Mitty's newly established garden. Using his robotics experience, he designed it, made a CAD model, and then recruited a large crew to complete its construction. And in his spare time, he's become a piano virtuoso, having passed the highest level of proficiency possible. This coming fall, he'll be undertaking his studies within the engineering program at UCLA. Please welcome, in his address to the community, the valedictorian of the class of 2018, Danning Yu.
Class of 2018, we grew up along some of the most defining changes in the technology sector. We were born early enough to remember Windows XP, BlackBerry, and flip phones. Witnessed the evolution of the iPhone throughout my time in school, and I'm now experiencing firsthand the rapid emergence of robots, autonomous systems, and artificial intelligence, or AI for short. It is perhaps this last development that gives us the most uncertainty and pause. Siri, Alexa, Tesla's Autopilot, IBM's Watson, Boston Dynamics robots, algorithms used by Facebook, Twitter, Google, and other companies that point us towards customized advertisements and products. All of these innovations share a common thread. They are robotic systems, whether virtual or physical. They amaze us with their capabilities, accomplishing tasks that we thought impossible for a robot 10 years ago. Personalization, prediction, computation. They achieve all of this through the use of information and direction. The earliest automatons helped eliminate tedious repetitive tasks, empowering man to facilitate an astounding pace of technological advancement over the last 200 years. Since then, robots of ever-increasing complexity have made lasting contributions in areas like space exploration, bomb disposal, and surgical work, saving countless lives. They help us in myriad ways in our everyday lives too. Alexa and Siri can set alarms, send texts, and even give us the weather. That last feature would have been nice to use before Mass last night. Having built robots for the last 4 years, I know firsthand just how hard it can be for machines to do what may seem second nature to us. And it only makes me more amazed at how far technology has advanced. But I also know that we've reached that critical juncture where we're becoming wary of technology and the pace of its advancement. It seems that Google and Facebook have more data on us than we could have ever imagined, and more than we want them to have. Just look at online advertisements. You Google information about the SAT and ACT, and next thing you know, you're getting advertisements about standardized test tutoring. Robots have already changed the face of U.S. industry and seem poised to overtake our everyday lives. Elon Musk and others have sounded the alarm on AI, warning of robots taking over the world. But the reality is, there is a long way to go until that happens. Robotics has been my main activity since freshman year. Yet Mitty has shown me that what truly matters is something robots, however advanced they may be, will never be able to offer. The special part of us that makes us human. Call it what you wish: emotion, empathy, human consciousness, self-awareness, a soul. There's something to each of us that makes us human. Going on immersion trips and retreats, especially Kairos, has shown me the immense value of human interaction, which carries with it qualities of authenticity, honesty, imperfection, and emotion that I've yet to see in robotic systems and AI. They're cogs in motion, but without emotion. Here's why. Fundamentally, even the most sophisticated robots and AIs boil down to a set of components and commands, hardware and software, that can be defined, written, and recreated. And thus, their greatest values also reveal their greatest shortcomings. Robots never make mistakes, or rather, they'll make the same mistakes over and over, repeatedly performing tasks with exacting accuracy and utilizing information at speeds faster than the blink of an eye. But all this gives us a sense of artificialness. They're cold, unyielding, and detached. As humans, our emotions, our relationships, our flaws, these are qualities robots won't ever be able to fully take on. They can only partially imitate them, responding to circumstances based on pre-existing patterns of learned reactions. But we are spontaneous. And in a capacity for spontaneity is the most real and most human of realities, our freedom. The phrase, "to err is to be human," captures a profound truth. That however talented and skilled and capable we may become, sometimes we will fail. The other half of that proverb, "to forgive, divide," is perhaps even more closely linked to who we can be and what robots are incapable of. We can respond on an emotional level with new, different, as yet unheard of acts rooted in our ideas, emotions, and how we care for one another, while robots have rigid rules to abide by. And even if exceptions are included in their rules, then that just means more rules, more limitations on what they can do. But not so with us. It's through community, through interactions with others, that we learn and grow. My fellow classmates, even though we may prefer texting emojis to each other over making calls, all of us know well the value of being able to talk to somebody in person. It's why our friends, counselors, and coaches at Mitty always emphasize to us to reach out if we ever need help. It's why despite being linked together by text, email, and Snapchat, we still prefer to talk in person for weighty topics. It's why we put our phones away during Mitty's retreats, begrudgingly at first, but followed by a rapid awareness of the wisdom of that act. The thought of doing any of this with a robot or AI makes us feel like the interaction is incomplete, that there's nobody, no person for us to empathize with on the other side. I've learned an incredible amount here at Mitty, but the most valuable lesson, repeatedly reinforced by friendships, retreats, and immersion trips, has been an infinite complexity, value, and uniqueness of humanity within each and every one of us. A robot can embody this knowledge, but Mr. Green, Mrs. Lee, and all of our teachers, you've taught us to blend that with the human traits of benevolence, compassion, and humility. Mr. Fairley, you're smart, dare I say, wicked smart, but your dedication and care for the team is a human touch that no knowledge can match. Mr. Arias, Mr. Corbell, and all of our counselors, you've put a human face on a process that often seems to focus more on numbers, test scores, grades, and other code data that fail to fully capture the person they represent. Emily Janifria, my robotics co-president, you've shown me what great things can come from care-filled human collaboration, and for that, I'm forever grateful. The lessons of our high school years couldn't have taken a hold without profound levels of support, and in our community, it is our parents who have always been our biggest supporters. They're the ones that provided the transportation, paid the bills, cooked the meals, and nurtured us in ways so numerous and varied that a complete listing could only be cataloged by an android, but it wouldn't be able to capture the love that accompanied each action. Mom and Dad, words cannot express how deep my gratitude is for you. Robots, yeah, they're great, and it's wonderful making them and seeing them work. But it's the people behind them, friends, teachers, parents, mentors, coaches, that I love. Because at the end of the day, love is a two-way interaction, and robots just can't reciprocate. I've loved my time at Mitty, as we all have. It's been a wonderful joy to grow in our humanity together as a class, to experiencing 4 fulfilling years filled with memories we hold close to our heart that make us so fully who and what we are. Class of 2018, I love you all. Thank you.
Will now be awarded their diplomas. We ask that during the presentation of diplomas, all in the audience refrain from sounding noisemakers or the like, as every family would hope to hear its student's name read. Our principal, Mr. Jim Brosnan, will award diplomas to the class of 2018. Mr. Carl Silva, a member of the English department, will present the graduates of 2018.
The following students have successfully fulfilled the requirements for graduation from Archbishop Mitty High School as determined by the Diocese of San Jose in consultation with the administration. Raynalyn Crisosimo Aberin. Caitlin Sarah Adachi. Kayla Jewel Kuliyopo Afonso. Madeline Monique Aguirre. Laura Lucia Ahern. Akshay Nitin Akarte. Soraya Jasmine Akhenaten. Muhammad Asghar Akram. Nehemiah Emil Amunsab. Nicole Krisham. Francisco Javier Cruz Gonzalez. Jocelyn Cruz Ramirez. Olivia Marie Cunningham. David Wilder Dalal. Kayla Nicole Dale. Mark Vincent Daniels. Anna Teresa Elizabeth Davis. Madeline Rose Davis. Logan Jack Dawson. Catherine Day. William John Dabney Deedon. Hannah Corinne de Guzman. Sofia Del Calno. Nathan Samuel Del Rosario. Annalise Shalee Delacroix. Katrina Maeve Kalumba. Nina Asafari. Jeremy Liu. Hector Elias Lua III. Megan Ashley Luo. Eric Luong. Jenica Malari. Caroline Manibo. Daniel Akita Morella. Kevin Marenshaw. Gustavo Mayo. Sarah Caroline Savage. Skylar Madison Savage. Mariah Scott. Jake Thomas Serpa. Joshua Tyler Soward. Maya Chanel Shaw. Jillian Tyler Sherwood. Joseph Mendes Schiffman. Hannah Adigna Chanel. Tuan Sridhar. Namesh Christopher Ryan Silva. Timothy Aditya Simka. Maxwell Thomas Slade. Camille Smallwood. Haley Simone Smith. Agov Mobiliseti. Carly Michelle Vasugi. Ian Tung Vu. Tyler True Vu. Jordan Anthony Walker. Leslie Perez Wang. Shane Michael Wagner. Julia Rose Wendling. Oliver Christian Werner. Madeline Claire Whalen. McKenna Lee Wims. Amelia Mary Whitney. Shaz Wadhami. Donovan Xavier Wilson. Audrey Nicole McDonough Wolf. Camille Marie Wolf. Andrew Wong. Nicole Wong. Torin Nathaniel Rucker Wright. Francesca Nicole Zapula. Emilio Rene Sertuche. Ladies and gentlemen, we present to you the class of 2018.
Will conclude with a blessing. Please join me in welcoming Father James Okafor to lead us in prayer. Please stand.
At your birth, God's breath filled you with life. Today, we celebrate what you have become at this moment in time. And so we pray. In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. Amen. God of our beginnings, we thank you for the gifts of these graduates, their excitement, their unsung wonder and curiosity, their open speech and encouraging words. Their contributions have blessed and challenged us, and we have become a richer and more diverse community because of them. As they step forward into the world that awaits them, comfort their fears with the full knowledge of your divine presence. Strengthen their resolve to walk in the footsteps of Jesus as modern-day disciples in a world that needs their spirit. Guide their feet as they move through life, protecting them from the pitfalls of darkness, while they help to lead future generations in the warmth and promise of your light. We offer all these prayers upon all of us, in the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. Amen.
Ask that all guests and graduates be seated. The administration and faculty will leave at this time. The graduates will follow. Guests are asked to remain seated until all graduates have processed out of the area. All
I'm going to feed you all flowers. Oh, thank you. Loaded with medicine, all flowers. When I heard it, I'm like,
first row. He's in first row now.
That's so cool for so long, and then you're like, whoa, what is that up there for?
Oh, look at Mark. There you go, Mark.
Hey, Fox.
This looks pretty good.
Hey, Fox.
What's up, buddy? This is a graduate.
Oh my God! Mark, are you okay? Mark, can you breathe? Yeah, okay. Mark. You got an Oreo box on the back. I thought I was.
Oh man.